Welcome to Chasing Rings Overtime. These fast break episodes are an extension of the main show, delivering quick-hitting takes, bold opinions, and analysis on the biggest stories and topics across sports. While we remain rooted in football year-round, Overtime expands our lens to cover everything happening across the sports world. We will return for a second season of full-length episodes in July as we ramp up for complete NCAA football and NFL coverage in preparation for the 2026 seasons. Until then, let's go. This is Chasing Rings Overtime. All right, welcome to Chasing Rings Overtime. What's up, fellas?
Gentlemen.
Welcome back, G. We missed you last week, brother.
Thank you, man.
Sure did.
Missed you.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot going on in the world, but you know, the NBA playoffs right now are the big talk, I suppose. So we can start there. The Cleveland Cavs are headed to Cancun.
Okay, when you said that, I was like, what?
Yeah.
But you know how they say, I don't know when it started years ago, but the show with Charles and all of them, they started sending teams when they got eliminated, started sending them. First, they were sending them fishing. Then they started sending them to Cancun. So that's kind of the thing. When a team gets eliminated, they're headed to Cancun. And now they do it for all sports, actually. So
Wow.
it's pretty interesting how that caught on. But
I haven't been there since the honeymoon, man. That's the last time I went.
So we'll start with the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, Knicks Cavs series. Previously, I had asked on one of the episodes whether the Cavs could recover after blowing a 22-point lead in Game 1. The answer was obviously not. The Cavs season is officially over after getting swept up last night, and I don't know if you guys have any time today to see any of the social media stuff, but NYC is on absolute fire right now. I'm afraid to see what will happen if they actually win this thing, because they are celebrating like it's a wrap. So they might have to be state of emergency in effect if they end up winning this thing. But they definitely are the hottest team right now, 11 in a row. So they are on a straight up burner. Dominated that series. Obviously, there's not a whole lot to talk about there strategically from that end. And if you caught any of the game last night, it was pretty embarrassing effort on the Cavs' part, especially on their missed shots. They weren't getting back on defense. It was embarrassing to watch. I couldn't even watch after the second quarter, really. But Cleveland never found an answer offensively. They didn't play really good defense at all. And now New York is looking like a legit title contender. Big dude, give me your thoughts on the series, the Knicks, and what do the Cavs need to do in the offseason to get over the hump?
Well, like you said, that losing that 22-point lead, that's like falling on the sword, which makes no sense. I mean, you're up by 22. You know what it is you're up against, and you get a chance to steal a victory in that stadium and turn everything around in that arena. And it just, didn't happen. They have the veteran leadership, and some of it just, especially with James Harden, it just was not the leadership that they needed, irrespective of what skills he had. And I think that that was, to me, that was the biggest thrashing. And in every other game, all those other things, they kind of built on each other. And New York, as Cleveland got shorter and shorter, New York got deeper and deeper with all kind of people that are scoring all the way down the bench, people who hadn't done anything all year coming in and hitting threes and doing different things. But you have to give it to New York. They're very well coached. Mike Brown has done an outstanding job. I can't remember the last time New York has been to the championship. Was that since Ewing was there? Was that the last time? Was that the Houston Rockets? I think it may have been. I'm not sure, but
it was either the Rockets or the Spurs. I can't remember which was the last one. I think it might have been the Spurs.
I just remember, them thinking they had a shot as well. But this New York team is built totally different. And after they went down 3-0, I mean, Cleveland may as well have bought their tickets to wherever they're going to go to decide they're off season trades. Now, as far as Cleveland goes, the number one thing, and I'll say it because I know our time is challenged, James Harden cannot be the point guard next year. I don't think he can be part of Cleveland. I think that I understand there was a big option, like a $40-something million option that Harden has, that Harden takes, and I understand Harden plans to be there. I don't know what series he thought he was in, if that's the truth. I mean, I don't know whether all those things are true, and I don't want to tell it wrong, but I did read about the option that he has if he goes and does something else. I just don't think, I think that's the big thing. You got to find out how Cleveland can do without Harden, get a more productive point guard and get a bit of a deeper bench, kind of like New York has. And there's no way Donovan Mitchell will be your prevailing person to make the play at the end. I don't think Donovan Mitchell is enough to carry you to a championship. Build a championship around him, yes. Carry a championship on your back. Let's get some other people that are going to be, I think, shooters and sure ball handlers and people that will be able to help finish people. Not finishing them in that first game, it ended the series for them.
Yeah, I agree. They never were right after that. And, it's hard to bounce back from that. And, they showed how difficult it was. What about you, G? What are your thoughts on this overall? And what can the Cavs do in the offseason? I mean, last year they were the number one seed, get bounced. They just cannot get over the playoff hump. What how do you see the series? And what do you think the Cavs can do to get back?
I went back and I looked at the highlights from the Detroit series, and I looked at this series. And, something popped in my mind was, I really don't think they should have been there in the first place. They actually played the way the team, they were a different team when they played Detroit. Does that make sense? Something was going well for them, just well enough on top of Detroit not playing up to their potential and their expectation. So does that make any sense?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
don't know if they should have been there in the first place.
But you bring up something that I didn't even think about.
Yeah,
didn't even think about that. That's a great point, G.
That's an XY factor.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, first I had this list. Okay, they don't have enough dogs, and they really don't. They don't have enough dogs. They really faded at the end of these games. It was kind of sad to see as an athlete. Harden and Mitchell, they're just not it. And their coach is not it. He just lets them do whatever the heck they want. And, here's the thing. Phil Jackson, he was laid back, but he ain't let people just do anything that they want to do. A lot of the great coaches, a lot of them were pretty laid back. Some were more vocal, but nevertheless, the point is, it's too much a laissez-faire thing that's going on, and they just need to gut it. I just don't see Cleveland, especially the way this past year and the year before, where it seemed like that they were going to do pretty well and fell up short. And then this season, they just should not have been there in the first place. I think they caught lightning in the bottle with Detroit, lucked up, and then they just showed who they really were. And the Knicks took advantage of it.
Yeah, that's something, man. Bringing that up, that's something, like I said, I had not even considered that, who should have been here, right? We had a 3 versus a 4 for the Eastern Conference Finals, essentially. So, no 1 seed, no 2 seed. Detroit definitely underperformed. I don't know what it was about them. They came through when they needed to in the Orlando series. They were up and down in the Cleveland series, and not really sure what happened in Game 7. I just don't know how you get beat like that at home in a Game 7. I don't think that's something that all the sports we've seen. Game 7 home teams do not get humiliated, and we've seen it twice now in the last 2 Eastern Conference series. So that's something a little bit different about where the league is now. Definitely, I think you touched on something with the talent. I mean, how far can we go if we go down the Cavs roster? And I think we can probably only list a few people because we've been watching the playoffs. But if you would have asked us this 3
Mhm.
months ago, how far could we go down the Cavs roster? I don't think we would have
I
got the
couldn't get
starting
past 2.
five. So,
Honestly, I
and
couldn't get past 2. But here's
I
the
feel
thing,
for
y'all go back
Donovan.
and look at the series and look at the
Mhm.
bench.
Yeah.
And I noticed that I'm like the bench that entire series, they just were not there. I mean, their affect, just like that they didn't want to be there almost, or they weren't excited about being there. I just didn't see that just looking at them play. I don't know if Mitchell and Harden and if they just kind of sucked the life out of them, just doing what they do or didn't do. I don't know. It was
Well, and
bad.
then you're going up against a team that's has one of the most premier benches in the league. Doesn't help you
Yeah.
any, if your bench isn't bringing
Yeah.
any energy. Yeah. So something I saw today was that Harden had no plans to move on from Cleveland, and Atkinson, I think is his name, the coach, who honestly I have no idea where the dude came from. Shame on me, I suppose, but neither of them have any intentions on Harden's not moving on, and Cleveland's not moving on from Atkinson. So you got to do something different. And some of the things that I've been hearing, if you compare the Cavs and the Knicks, you have Knicks and people, obviously call them the Nova Knicks, but you have several players on the Knicks team that have won before. They know what it is like to win, whether it's at the collegiate level or the professional level. So you have people that know what it takes to win, and that the Cavs are kind of missing those types of players. And come on, we all know that when we heard, even though we were in the midst of football, even though we heard the Cavs picked up James Harden, we were kind of like, and
Yeah.
like, what does he do for you?
Right.
What has he done for anyone?
Like, just gonna destroy
Yeah.
the chemistry. Whatever chemistry they had, he was gonna destroy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I tell
Just
you,
doesn't.
his performance in the last couple of games, for somebody to be touted as much as he is, he reminds me of those cats that used to come on the playground who you knew could play, but they would just be taking crazy shots. Like they weren't really into it. They were kind of messing up your
Yeah.
run. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's how he plays to
Yep.
me. And I'm like, dude, for somebody who hasn't won, we don't ever see the hunger in him. We never see that hunger.
Yeah.
He wants to be the man.
Well,
I'm guessing he wants to
that's what I
win,
say.
but he hasn't shown me that anywhere yet. So I don't
No,
know.
he
I
just
think
want
the
to be the
Cavs
highest
probably are
scorer on
done.
the team. That's all.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like he
but
just wants personal
His
accolades,
hunger
almost
is
like he just wants to be a
inward.
celebrity.
well, but that would have even
Pretty
kept
much.
him in the game more. I mean, look, I mean, the game 2 of 8 on regular shots, and 0 for 6 on 3-pointers, and 2 assists. I mean, he's supposed to be able to be the distributor. How can you have a game that you're going to get eliminated from, and you make 2 shots out of 14, and you're not? See, it would put them in the game if he tried to be that guy, but I think he understands he's not. You can't be enough of that, and you got to be able to get other people going. I just don't see him as the type of person that can get other people going. 12 points. And then they get out rebounded 60-33. That's just a lack of
Like I
effort.
said, not hustling, and it showed up again last night. I want to
20
go back to
offensive
Harden real quick.
rebounds.
Where's the competitiveness?
None.
You got somebody cooking you, and we've all pick a sport that we play. We've had somebody that we had a long day against, or somebody that you were going up against that you're like, oh, I know what this is going to be.
God.
But then you look at
Yeah.
what you can do versus that team or that person for a little bit of get back.
Right.
Yeah, maybe they should have been switching on Brunson, and they shouldn't have left him on the island, but that's what they did. So you know what? I'm going to take the ball back down. I'm going to give it right back to you. That's what superstars do.
Yeah.
Once he was getting cooked, he was done mentally. He was done.
Well, I think he just gave up.
He did. He
just gave up.
And it's like he didn't even care. There was a clip last night during one of the timeouts where Donovan Mitchell, and I've never seen him be this animated before, was just trying to implore anything that he could get out of his guys to show some effort. And it was just a bunch of dudes looking at him like, man, my vacation's already booked. This is great and all, but I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
This is I just chalk it up to typical Harden. But you can
Yeah.
also just step back and chalk it up to Cleveland. Cleveland being Cleveland.
And that's not, we got to give the Knicks their due credit. They've been playing some ball. And
Oh yeah.
honestly, I don't know who in the East would have beat them. I mean, I would think Detroit might have made it a better series because I think Detroit has some dogs opposed to what Cleveland
Yeah.
has. And I don't think Detroit would have went out like that. But I think the Knicks
Yeah.
were rolling. They probably would have handled anybody. So let's
Oh
not
yeah.
act like the Cavs just gave the Knicks the series. The Knicks spanked that, you know what? So
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so
pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty
The
much.
Knicks
first
That would have
just
been a
time.
made
nice
yeah.
series though.
That would have been that's the series
Detroit,
we
New York
needed.
would have been nice.
That's the series we needed, man. But it'll be interesting now because I know I was originally looking at whoever wins the West is going to automatically win this thing, but I'm not so sure now, which is a great segue into the Western Conference. OKC and San Antonio are playing right now. Actually, they just started the second half. OKC's up by 17, looks like in the second half.
Sure.
But hotly
Yeah,
contested Western Conference
they're just
Finals.
unreal right now, man.
Yeah, it looks like the home teams are gonna kind of win these games. We're set up for a potential game 7 the way these teams are playing. But the topic I really want to focus on is this series is really just getting going. I mean, right now it's basically the best 2 out of 3. Is OKC starting to get this villain status? And they've not a bunch of great guys. No one's done anything to anybody. They're the defending champs. They're in a small market. Just a bunch of good dudes who are now being looked at as the villains because of their style of play. And I will say, and I know y'all got tired of me sending all
That's
these
being
memes.
generous, man. Guru,
I
that's
know y'all
being
got
very
tired of me
generous.
sending all those memes, but come on, man. SGA, is he serious with the flopping? He can't be serious with
It's
it.
not
I
just
mean,
him.
yeah. First, if I saw him, and I'm like, man, they all do it. So do they practice this? So OKC has become the villain in this whole playoff season, and it seems like they have graciously accepted the role. I don't think they care what anybody thinks. Some are questioning whether the criticism is fair or whether it's just gamemanship and part of modern day basketball, which I'm sick of that. This is part of modern day basketball crap.
Yeah.
G, what do you think about how this series has been officiated thus far, especially in terms of what SGA is getting away with and some of his teammates are getting away with and what they're getting away with on defending Wemby?
Oh yeah. They play a hacker Wemby. I don't know a really good one like Hacker Shack that would go with Wemby, but they're definitely doing that, and the refs are not calling it. And I think this is more about the refs. There's definitely a anti-flopping rule in the NBA, and they're just not enforcing that at all.
No, they're not.
They're not, and so I'm more upset at the referees than the players because the players are going to only do what the refs won't enforce.
Yeah,
You
and you
know what
can't
I
make the
mean?
calls yourself. The officials have to ref the game. The
Exactly.
players can't. We're not outside where we're making the calls ourselves.
Exactly. So that's kind of where I am with it. I think these refs, they need a full and deep review at the end of all of this. Honestly, they probably need to be fired. I don't think this is a matter of just bad ability to ref, as opposed to their choosing to do it for whatever reason. And I don't, and me personally, I don't plan on watching any OKC games because of it.
It's tough. I tell you, it's really tough. Like I was super frustrated watching the last game. I mean, especially that one call where the dude never even touched him and he just flicked his feet out. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
they have
you
this
just gotta
replay
be like
system.
this.
Yeah, and then they have this replay system. So what are you replaying?
Right.
What are you looking at on these
Right.
replays that you're missing these? And now, their replay the NFL replay, which is not the perfect system. I'm not touting that as perfect at all. But, in the NFL, you can't look at multiple facets of a play. You're looking at one particular thing. In the NBA, you could be looking at possession, but also, if there was a foul or if there was what type of replay system is that?
Right.
I just don't get it. Big dude, what are your thoughts on, how this series has been officiated thus far? I know you chuckled a little bit when G said they need to get rid of him, and I agree with him. But what do you think about the officiating?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not helping themselves. I think that, and part of it is the relationship, what is modern day, the relationship with the officials and the players. Not that it didn't have it before, but I see the referees doing a lot of explaining in general. They stop and everybody has got their favorite referee, and the favorite referee talks about the way they saw it and the way they're going to call it. Now, then you get 3 referees out there, and you get other players that say to the referee, "What do I have to do? This is how I saw it, and this is how I'm going to call it." But you don't get any cohesion between the referees as well about what a flop is. You don't see that, and everybody is atoning for how they're going to referee the game. That does not become an aggregate way to ref. That is a separate way. I think that's what the problem is. There are going to be certain things that, whether you explain it or not, like G said, there is the flop rule. How will the flop rule be applied? Or at the very beginning, that you say anything to the captains, this is how we're going to call it. We're not going to make a whole lot of ticky-tack calls. We're going to let you play. But what does let you play mean? That definition has changed. Does that mean we're going to let you play, that we're not going to call ticky-tack fouls, or all's fair in love and war? If you get away with a flop and it's not too obvious, I'm not going to call it. So I haven't seen any emphasis on that, and I see 3 different ways of officiating in these conference finals. And like I said, I don't think it mattered against New York, but I would see, Brunson talking to the same official. It's good that they can do that they can be mature and not yelling for calls. The problem is it's all split up, and they all have different ways of approaching different things. There's no continuity, and I think with the NBA finals coming up, and what they're going to do, what they're, and it's the question is too, is what else are they influenced by? I mean, they don't really know these coaches per se. If coaches get in there, so they're not as worried about them. The players are the ones that are looking at how it is going to be called. They get their answer, and that's how they play it. And then I think that everybody on OKC is playing follow the leader with a flop.
Yeah, it seems to be their philosophy as a team, to be quite honest with you. But you mentioned two words that I think are important: cohesion and continuity among the officials. And I don't see these officials, and in any of the playoff games that I've watched, I don't see them getting into any type of groove. And what I mean by that is, if you remember, and I hate to sound like that old head all the time, but I think it's important, historically. When you looked at series years past, remember you'd have Phil Jackson sending tape to the league and saying Kobe got hit 25 times. And you would actually see, okay, they actually looked at this, and you know what? You were right. He got hit 19 of those times. We missed it. You would actually see the changes in the reviews implemented into how they officiated the rest of the series. I just feel like there's a bunch of individual referees in these games. And like Big Dude just said, they're not cohesively working as a unit to officiate the game. They're making individual calls out on their own islands. Nobody's overriding anybody. They're not huddling up as often as they should to get the calls right. It's automatic replay.
Yeah, man, they have think about that.
Yeah, they have the automatic replay, and then now you can challenge it. And some of that stuff is so obvious. Like one of the balls out of bounds the other night went off OKC guy. It was obvious it went off him, and we had to go to review. And I'm like, you can't see that basic play. So how are you officiating the game if you can't see something that was so explicitly obvious? And
I don't like the way they jump into players and if I have the ball, I jump into you,
Yes.
I get the call. And I'm like,
Hate
well,
that style.
I initiated the contact. They did it. So why am I getting the call?
These
Yeah,
people on three-pointers are
big dude,
kicking.
you're right. Huh?
These guys on three-pointers are kicking the defender and getting a foul.
Right.
I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something. There needs to be a complete overhaul, man. Hopefully that this noise becomes so loud it forces the NBA owners to be like, okay, we need to clamp down on this. This is not good for the game in any stretch of the imagination. And me, I'm getting ready to be that old dude. I think back to the 80s, early 90s. If you got a foul, more than likely it changed the direction of your shot.
Mm-hmm.
It forced you off of your line. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
it was typically pretty legit. It wasn't a lot of the ticky tack stuff. And I don't
It was
know
an
how
earned
that creeped
foul.
in.
It was an earned
Yes.
foul. Playoff fouls.
Yes. Because even back then, you can hand check somebody. You can actually have your hand right there. Just tap the hip, keep them in your range. You're not throwing them off their line, just a touch. Now you do that, man. You just what my first basketball coach told us? He said basketball is a contact sport.
Yep.
And we've taken the contact.
People don't think of it that way. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And I think it's much more of a contact sport than people realize. But this new era, they want to take that away.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They want to work the ball around the perimeter and nobody wants to go into the paint. Say it again.
Hey, the W's not taking it away. They're embracing it.
The W does not play. They're like, get up. No call. Get up.
Pretty much. You'll be all right. Put some dirt on it.
So this is really frustrating. And I think it's tarnishing what has been a really good series, but what could have been an all-time great series possibly, I think is being tainted by this type of play. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Right now, it looks like OKC's continuing to roll as they get ready to wrap up the third quarter here, still up by 12. But we'll see how the rest of this series goes, and we'll certainly be talking about that on one of our future episodes. But that will do it for this episode of Chasing Rings Overtime. Please remember to follow, like, subscribe on all of the major streaming platforms. And until next time, see ya later.